Please note, this is episode 2 of the Fire Emblem Revelations rewrite series. If you have not watched part 1 yet, pause this and watch it with the little info card in the top right. I appreciate your time and I want to pay it back with giving a comprehensive experience. Now, let's continue on with the show. After making their way to the Ice Tribe in Chapter 10, the group spends some time reading books about the rule of King Corrin before Xander was born. They learned that the kingdom was almost as prosperous as Hoshido, sporting many fairs and festivals during the holiday season. Corrin's behavior soon changed after marrying his first wife, Katarina, becoming the cruel, vindictive father figure he is known for being today. While the cause of his change for attitude is unknown at the time, it is known that Katarina died via suicide, which is odd considering how light and happy she was. The storybook story would be fully animated. The storybook is brought in by the maid you don't have and Flora, filling you in that they were fired and barely escaped death by Xander's sword. Before they could get too comfy though, the much larger ice village is being attacked by hordes of monsters led by Hans. Mostly Malduin, Cyclops, Moth Dukes, and enemy-exclusive necromancers from Nor that are able to make phantoms every 4 turns after the first enemy falls. In order to beat the map, the team needs to defeat every enemy on the map, getting bonus rewards for every castle of the Ice Tribes that stays defended. Joining you at the onset are both Flora and the other maid you do not have, and positioned on the map is either Elise and her retainers alongside Benny and Keaton to try to defend the villagers despite Corrin's wishes, or Takumi and his retainers alongside Orochi and Reina on a diplomatic visit to the Ice Tribe, depending on if you played 7X or not. If Elise is on the map, difficulty of recruitment for all 5 characters will depend on whether or not you killed Zola. If you killed Zola, you will need to keep Elise, Arthur, and Effie at least 50% by the end of the map. If you do not kill Zola, all you need to do is talk to Elise with Corrin or Silas. Elise will also be carrying a tome named Blute, a tome that allows Elise to heal all of her allies by 10% if she initiates an attack, and 20% if that attack kills an enemy. Admittedly, this tome is a further stretch from reality because the poem Venorian weapons are based on, I'm gonna butcher this name I swear, Nibelungenlied, does not have a character anywhere close to what Elise is like, or a lot of women in general for that matter. If Takumi is on the map, Corrin will need to knock Takumi to 7 HP or less, then have Corrin talk to him, then have Sakura talk to him. Upon completing this, Oboro, Hinata, Orochi, and Reina will all join the team. The map overall is difficult if you're trying to get all the items and characters, but otherwise it's pretty simple, and is a great grinding exercise for your sword units and shuriken users, specifically Corrin, Hinata, Kaze, Silas, and Kagero. Upon completing the map, you will be given the option to kill Hans. Should you kill Hans, your team will travel to the Flame Tribe or Mount Geru, depending on if you got Rinka or Keaton respectively, based on their persuasion. Killing Hans will reveal that he was acting under his own malice, but an orb of dark matter will be left in his pocket with Yago's name etched on it. Should you not kill Hans, Hans will run back to Corrin, where he, alongside Zola, will be swiftly executed and absorbed by Corrin for energy. In this circumstance, the group will travel to the Great Wall of Susano, should you not have recruited Elise, or to the port town of Daya, should you have recruited Elise. Just for record-keeping sake, we now have 4 pathways. All these pathways will merge after Chapter 12, but for now, here's all that. I hope you guys took notes of the changes that happened in the last chapter, because this is where things start getting messy. In Chapter 11, the group will make its way either to the Flame Tribe, Mount Geru, the Great Wall of Susano, or the port town of Daya, depending on the above circumstances. In the Flame Tribe and Mount Geru sections, you will be following claims that someone with a strange aura has been attacking the area. After doing some exploring around the town area, you will find either a corrupted Hinoka, holding her signature lance Aqua Boruto, a water-based lance infused with lightning that has a built-in soul effect, +6 attack, and rally speed, alongside her retainers, Kaden and Hayato. Or Camilla with the help of her retainers, with a normal version of the other princess going after the corrupted variant alongside their retainers. Fighting alongside the corrupted versions are a whole bunch of faceless and risen of all kinds, leaving the player to tread pretty lightly. In order to recruit the corrupted princess, the player must have Azora sing to them. This is recommended to be done after recruiting the regular princess though, as by recruiting the corrupted version first, the only way you can recruit the regular princess is by having her talk to Corrin or Elise, or Takumi depending on the princess, after she is below 10 HP, instead of just being able to talk to them with Corrin, Elise/Takumi, or Azora. Once these chapters are completed, the corresponding princess will reveal that she hasn't had control of her body ever since Corrin last saw her. Before losing control, she remembers a faint voice whispering in her ear, "The footless orphan, you must kill the orphan," and trying to fight it off. But eventually, this voice and overall spirit overtook her. Right after, the princess asks Azora how she knew that singing would cure it. And she responds, I don't know. I had a similar voice in my ear telling me to use my gift, but I didn't know it could also do this. Almost similar circumstances will occur at the Great Wall of Susano or the port town of Daya, except Elise and her retainers will join you at the beginning of both chapters after hearing about what went down in the Ice Tribe. In order to clear all 4 maps, you simply need to calm down the corrupted princess either by death or by Azora singing, as well as taking out every other enemy on the map aside from the retainers. As the ally princess will go after the corrupted princess, quick movement on the player's part is vital. Upon completion of all 4 chapters, the characters will discover the dark matter once more, though there is more and it lasts a hell of a lot longer. Azora walks over to examine one of the bodies and is able to look at its face before the dark matter starts to consume her body. She's fortunately able to fight it off, but not without doing massive damage to her energy and soul. What Azora is able to recognize is that the matter felt slightly comfortable, almost like she was at home. While trying to figure out exactly what that meant, the group realizes that they need to make their way as quickly as possible out of their current situation. If a player was in the Kitsune Hamlet or the Great Wall of Susano, the group will make their way towards Igasato. If a player was at Mount Geru or the port town of Daya, the group will make their way towards the Woods of the Forlorn. Moving into Chapter 12, depending on the path, the group makes their way to either Igasato or Woods of the Forlorn, in the hunt to try to figure out exactly what the hell this dark matter is they keep running into. In Igasato, Kaze and Saizo reminisce about their childhood and the misadventures they got into while learning the ways of a ninja. Their reminiscing is cut short when they are surrounded by none other than Kotaro and his men. The map is mostly made out of trees and hidden traps, so one has to be careful. Halfway through the chapter, either Sakura or Ryoma, depending on who you haven't recruited yet, will show up with their retainers, with Saizo being recruited at the start of this chapter and Ryoma bringing Orochi and Reina regardless. The whole point of this chapter is tackling corruption, in more ways than one. As you take down more and more ninja, monsters will begin appearing on the map, mostly Moguls and Arch-Moguls, much to the delight of Kotaro, showing that something about him is truly off. If you finish Kotaro off with a royal, a cutscene will appear after the chapter where the royal will seem to be out of control for quite a while, uttering the words, "The barefoot child must be destroyed. The barefoot child must be buried. The barefoot child must be eviscerated," before Azora sings the royal back. Unless, of course, it's Azora, in which case she'll go out of control and will only stop after Corrin smacks her once with their sword. After discussing it, the group will realize that they're fighting something completely unknown, with Azora pleading to follow her now that she's narrowed down what the options are. The group trusts her far more than earlier at this point, but only after Corrin gives her their confidence. In Woods of Forlorn, needless to say, themes are much darker. While the enemies are generally the same, so faceless galore, but Moguls are present as well since they fit the atmosphere, there is one major difference. Leo is nowhere to be seen. Instead, Sakura or Ryoma are there with some Let's call them cosmetic changes, depending on who you haven't recruited yet. While Ryoma is simply with torn clothing, Sakura dons a black robe, black hair, and a singular blonde streak through her hair. Both trigger a cutscene. When you fight Ryoma, he says, "We geared our lives towards finding you. When we find you, you run. Fight me, coward." When you fight Sakura, she says, "My entire life I was told how special you were. How great you were." Ready to see someone besides yourself? Both maps require that you have Azora Saint to the Royal before you kill every monster in order to recruit them. Their retainers, as well as Orochi and Reina, or Rinka, will be recruited at the start of a map if you do not have them, as they fear for the Royals' safety. After the chapter, Kotaro, Sakura, or Ryoma, depending on which version of Chapter 12 you played, will be completely incapacitated. But Hinoka comes up with a great idea. She remembers that Lady Makoto once told her that the throne in Hoshido has the power to reveal the truth about whoever sits on the throne. So the group cooks up a plan to take Kotaro, Sakura, or Ryoma to the throne and set them down on it to figure out exactly what is going on. With that, everyone makes their way to Castle Shirasagi to get down to the bottom of this. In Chapter 13, the group makes its way to the throne room of Castle Shirasagi and goes to place Kotaro/Sakura/Ryoma on the throne. As they're about to place them on the throne, a horde of enemies of all varieties comes in, going from faceless to phallic copies of the team, so far to Moth Dukes, to Entombed, to Death Goyles. To make matters worse, these enemies are able to produce a fog of war situation, leaving you completely in the dark. In order to win the map, you must defend Kotaro/Sakura/Ryoma for 12 turns, or defeat the boss. Don't worry, the boss will be 5 steps away from the one you're trying to defend at the end of turn 10. Exciting, right? Keep in mind, Fates doesn't have any torch staves or anything along those lines, so you need to be really careful as to where you step. The boss is someone special, to say the least. It's none other than a Valite copy of King Sumeragi. This version of the king is very spiteful and angry, and is paired up with an equally spiteful Queen Makoto, who serves as a second boss. These versions are very different, but give one key insight before the big reveal at the end of this chapter. They allude to a certain being the one who consumed their souls, but don't go any further than that. Upon placing Kotaro/Sakura/Ryoma on the throne, they start recounting the voice that's been in their head. "Your anger," it said. "You must consume it. You must kill the footless child. And the girl with the singing voice. Only then will you be happy. Join me in the kingdom of Vala." After hearing the last line, slightly altered of course when spoken as to avoid the curse, Azora connects that it must be none other than a Nankos who's corrupting everyone, based on what she knows from when she was little and in letters that Arete left her. With their goals in mind, Hinoka, Camilla, Takumi, and Elise now realize that they will need more power before they can even go down to, quote, the Forbidden Kingdom. After some convincing, Ryoma and Takumi are on board and decide to lead the charge towards Windmire. But first, they must cross the sea. And with that, that's part 2 of Fire Emblem Revelations' rewrite. So, after a whole bunch of convoluted pathways, we got ourselves from 4 pathways down to 1. If you like what you saw, go ahead and leave a like, go ahead and leave a comment down below, and also, if you would like, I have a Patreon and Twitch you guys can check out with the links down below and at the end of the video. Well, again, thank you everyone for watching, and until next time, this is Joeypals signing out. Part 3, we're gonna head towards the end of a very important arc here, so get ready for that.